Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Are you ready to unlock some serious financial secrets?
Secrets that could supercharge your wealth, you say. I'm all ears.
Today, we're going deep into the world of HSAs, those health savings accounts. And our guide is a fantastic YouTube video.
Oh, a video deep dive. I like it. Visual aids and everything?
Exactly. It's called 4 HSA Hacks that will supercharge your wealth. And it's from a channel called The Retirement Nerds.
Okay, nerds. I'm intrigued already. Nerds usually know their stuff, especially when it comes to money.
Oh, absolutely. These guys really break down how to make HSAs work for you. We're not just talking about covering medical bills here.
Yeah, HSAs have a reputation for being kind of, well, boring. Just a place to stash cash for doctor's appointments.
Right. But it's so much more than that. We're talking about potentially paying less in taxes right now.
Oh, everyone loves a good tax break.
Plus, letting your investments grow without the IRS taking a cut.
And that, my friends, is where the real magic happens.
And ultimately, ending up with a much bigger nest egg for the future.
It's like having a secret weapon in your financial toolkit.
Okay, so before we get to those juicy hacks, let's do a super quick HSA 101 for anyone who's new to the game.
The basics, gotta have them.
First things first, you need to have a high-deductible health plan, or HDHP for short, to qualify for an HSA.
So if you're shopping for health insurance, look for that HDHP label. Or check with your HR department if you get insurance through work.
Now, here's where it gets really exciting. HSAs have a triple tax advantage.
Triple tax advantage. Okay, now I'm really paying attention.
It's almost unheard of in the world of personal finance. Most accounts give you a tax break here or there, but HSAs hit the trifecta.
It's like winning the financial lottery.
Okay, so advantage number one, your contributions are tax deductible, meaning they lower your taxable income right now.
Boom! Instant discount on your taxes just for being responsible and saving for healthcare.
Love it. And then, when you use the money for those qualified medical expenses, those withdrawals are tax-free as well.
So it's tax-free going in, tax-free growth, and tax-free when you take it out for those medical bills. Pretty sweet deal, right?
But hold on, because it gets even better. The third advantage, this is the real game changer, is that any growth on your investments within the HSA is also tax-free.
Wait, so my money can grow and compound without being taxed? Sign me up.
That's where HSAs go from helpful to seriously powerful when it comes to building wealth over time.
It's the difference between squirreling away a few bucks and building a financial fortress.
And that brings us to the first hack from the retirement nerds. Invest your HSA dollars. I was shocked to learn how many people just leave their HSA funds sitting in a savings account, earning practically nothing.
It's such a missed opportunity. So many people don't even realize the potential these accounts have.
The video gives this great example. They introduce us to Eric the Saver and Eric the Investor. Both of them consistently contribute the maximum to their HSAs every year for 30 years. Solid savers, right?
Yeah, putting in the max. Gotta respect that.
Now, Eric the Saver plays it safe and keeps his money in a basic savings account. After 30 years, he ends up with around $370,000.
Not bad. But then there's Eric the Investor.
Exactly. He takes advantage of the investment options within his HSA. And assuming a decent average return of, say, 7%, Eric the Investor ends up with almost $900,000.
Whoa, hold on. That's a huge difference. Over $500,000 more just from investing that money.
It really highlights the incredible power of compound growth over time. Even if those early contributions feel small, they can snowball into something truly remarkable.
It's amazing what consistent investing can do. Small steps, big rewards, that's the motto.
And let's not forget about those folks over 55. You get an extra $1,000 you can contribute each year with those catch-up contributions.
It's like a little bonus for those of us with a little more experience under our belts.
Now, get ready for this next hack because it might sound a little counterintuitive at first.
Yeah.
Hack number 2 is don't use your HSA for medical expenses if you can swing it.
Wait a minute, what? Isn't that what the money is for? I'm confused.
I know, right? It seems a little crazy, but there's a really smart strategy behind it.
All right, I'm trusting you here. Explain yourself.
The idea is, if you can afford to pay for those medical costs out of pocket, let those invested HSA funds keep growing and compounding undisturbed.
So it's like delaying that gratification now for a potentially much bigger payoff later.
Exactly. It's all about playing the long game.
Okay, I'm starting to see the logic here, but let's go back to those Erics.
Great idea. Let's say they both have $2,000 in medical expenses each year. Eric the Saver, he's using his HSA to cover those bills, so his balance takes a hit every year.
Right, makes sense. It's going up with contributions, but also down with withdrawals.
But Eric the Investor, He's paying those expenses out of pocket and letting that HSA money keep working for him in the market.
So he's getting that double benefit of tax-free growth and those potential investment gains.
And don't forget that snowball effect. Remember how that $2,000 invested in year one could potentially grow to over $15,000 in 30 years with a 7% return? Now imagine that happening year after year.
It's pretty mind-blowing to see what happens when you harness the power of time and compounding. It's like financial alchemy.
Personally, I like to keep a small emergency fund in my HSA, just in case. But the majority of it is invested. It gives me that peace of mind knowing I have a safety net while still giving those investments a chance to grow.
It's about finding that balance, right? Being prepared for the unexpected while still keeping your eyes on the long-term prize.
Of course, this strategy isn't for everyone. It really depends on your individual financial situation, your comfort level with risk, and your overall goals.
Yeah, it's always wise to consider your own circumstances and make the choices that feel right for you.
Now, are you ready for hack number 3? This one almost feels like a cheat code, but it's totally legal. You can actually reimburse yourself tax-free for any qualified medical expense you've had since opening your HSA.
Hold on, even from years ago, like way back when.
Yep, even from way back when.
That's incredible. It's like uncovering a hidden treasure chest of tax savings.
Let's think about Eric the investor again. He's been diligently paying those medical expenses out of pocket all these years. Now, fast forward to today, he's 65, and his HSA balance is looking pretty impressive thanks to all that compound growth. He can now go back and reimburse himself for all those past expenses.
That's a game changer. So he gets the benefit of those tax-free withdrawals now, even though the expenses happened years ago.
You got it. It's a fantastic example of how strategic HSA management can pay off big time.
This is making me want to dig through my old files and find every medical receipt I've ever saved.
That's the spirit. But remember, documentation is key. The IRS might want to see proof of those expenses.
Good point. It's always better to be prepared.
All right, ready for hack number 4. This one's all about what happens when you reach that milestone age of 65. It's like your HSA levels up.
Ooh, I love a good level up. What happens? What happens?
Well, it essentially becomes like a traditional IRA. You can withdraw funds for anything you want, no penalty.
Wait, seriously, anything. So it's not just for medical expenses anymore.
Nope. Think of it as unlocking a whole new level of financial freedom in retirement.
That's incredible. So all that money I've been diligently saving and investing in my HSA, I can use it for anything once I hit 65.
Exactly. Travel, hobbies, spoiling the grandkids. The possibilities are endless.
I'm starting to see why those retirement nerds called these hacks. These are like financial cheat codes.
Now, there's a small caveat. Those non-qualified withdrawals, meaning anything that's not a medical expense, will be taxed as income.
Okay, so Uncle Sam still gets his cut eventually.
But the good news is there's no extra 20% penalty like you'd get with an early withdrawal from a traditional IRA.
So it's still a win compared to other retirement accounts.
Think about it. Eric, the investor, who's been strategically using his HSA all these years, now has incredible flexibility in retirement.
He can enjoy the fruits of his labor without having to worry about those hefty penalties. It's a pretty sweet setup.
Okay, before we get too carried away with HSA excitement, we need to cover some important considerations. There are a few nuances and potential pitfalls to watch out for to make sure you're using your HSA the right way.
Yeah, it's always wise to be aware of the fine print, right? No one wants to get hit with unexpected penalties or surprises down the road.
First up, let's talk about qualified versus non-qualified expenses. This is where it can get a little tricky because what the IRS considers a medical expense might surprise you.
It's not always intuitive. You might think something counts, and then, bam, the IRS throws a penalty flag.
I know. For example, did you know acupuncture and chiropractic care can be covered? Even certain weight loss programs can qualify.
Seriously, so it's not just traditional doctor's visits and prescriptions.
Nope. But the key here is medical necessity. So a gym membership wouldn't typically fly, but if a doctor prescribes a weight loss program to address a specific health condition, it could be covered.
Ah, so it's all about having that doctor's recommendation, basically saying, hey, IRS, this is legit.
Right. And this is another reason why keeping good records is crucial. Save those receipts, doctor's notes, anything that supports those medical expenses.
It's like a financial paper trail, just in case Uncle Sam comes knocking.
Now, this one really surprised me. Fertility treatments, including IVF, are considered qualified medical expenses.
Wow, that's huge. Those treatments can be incredibly expensive, so having the option to use HSA funds can make a huge difference for couples facing infertility challenges.
Absolutely. And it's not just limited to those traditional medical costs. You can also use your HSA funds for long-term care premiums and certain costs related to disabilities.
So it's really about covering a broad range of healthcare needs throughout your life.
It's like a financial safety net for all those what-ifs.
And speaking of safety nets, I know we touched on this earlier, but I want to double down on the importance of understanding Medicare rules when it comes to HSAs. It's an area where people often trip up, and those penalties can be pretty hefty.
Yeah, it's one of those things you really want to get right.
If you're nearing 65, it's a good idea to start planning early and maybe even have a chat with a financial advisor who really understands the ins and outs of HSAs and Medicare. They can be a huge help.
It's like having a guide to navigate that Medicare maze.
Exactly. They can help you sort through those Medicare timelines, make sure you're maximizing your HSA contributions, and avoid any accidental overcontributions that could trigger those penalties.
They're like your HSA guardian angels.
And remember, even though your contributions stop once you're on Medicare, you can still use those existing HSA funds to cover a wide range of eligible Medicare-related expenses.
It's like a bonus round.
Exactly. Think of it as an extra layer of financial protection for those healthcare costs in retirement.
Okay, let's wrap things up for this part of our deep dive. We've covered a lot of ground, but I want to leave you with a question to ponder. If you could go back in time and give your younger self just one piece of financial advice, what would it be?
That's a great question to reflect on. It really makes you think about what truly matters in the long run.
For me, it would be to start saving and investing early, even if it's just small amounts. The magic of compound growth is incredible.
I completely agree. Time is your most valuable asset when it comes to investing. It's not just about saving money. It's about making that money work for you.
And never underestimate the power of financial education. The more you know about managing your money, the better equipped you'll be to make smart choices and create a secure future for yourself.
Knowledge is power, especially when it comes to your finances.
Well, on that note, we'll pause our HSA deep dive here. But don't worry, we'll be back soon to uncover even more valuable insights and strategies to help you supercharge your HSA. Stay tuned.
It really is amazing how even small, consistent contributions can add up to something significant over time.
It's the beauty of compound growth. All right, where were we? Yes. Let's get back to those qualified medical expenses because that's where things can get a little, well, let's just say interesting.
Interesting is one word for it. I think the IRS publication on qualified medical expenses is like 1,000,000 pages long.
I know, right? And you'd be amazed at some of the things that actually qualify. Like, did you know that acupuncture and chiropractic care can be covered?
Really? I had no idea. So it's not just limited to those traditional doctor visits and prescriptions.
Nope. Even certain weight loss programs can qualify.
So like if I decide to join that fancy new gym down the street, I can use my HSA funds for that.
Not quite. The key here is medical necessity. So that gym membership wouldn't typically fly. But if a doctor prescribes a weight loss program to address a specific health condition, then it could be covered.
Ah, got it. So it's all about having that doctor's note that says, hey, IRS, this is legit.
Exactly. And that's another reason why it's so important to keep those records organized. Those receipts and doctor's notes can be your best friend if the IRS ever comes knocking.
Makes sense. It's always better to be safe than sorry, especially when it comes to taxes.
Now, this next one really surprised me. Fertility treatments, including IVF, are also considered qualified medical expenses.
Wow, that's amazing. Those treatments can be so incredibly expensive. Having the option to use HSA funds for that could be a huge relief for families.
Absolutely. It can truly make a difference for couples who are facing those challenges. And it's not just those traditional medical costs we've been talking about. You can even use HSA funds for long-term care premiums and certain expenses related to disabilities.
It's like HSAs can help you prepare for a whole range of healthcare needs throughout your life, not just in the here and now.
It's like a financial safety net that goes beyond just those immediate medical bills. Okay, so I know we've talked about this before, but it's worth repeating because it's so important. It's crucial to understand those Medicare rules when it comes to HSAs.
Yeah, this is one area where people can easily trip up, and those penalties can really sting.
Especially if you're approaching age 65, it's wise to start planning early and maybe even chat with a financial advisor who really knows the ins and outs of both HSAs and Medicare. They can be invaluable in helping you navigate this whole process.
Like a personal HSA Medicare Sherpa, guiding you through the mountains of rules and regulations.
Exactly. They can help you sort through those Medicare timelines, ensure you're maximizing your HSA contributions, and avoid any accidental overcontributions that could lead to penalties.